We're recording. Fantastic. So it's a special edition podcast this week because there is no podcast dad Darren Hales. He's on Veteran West this week. So we are doing this in one take. So it's going to sound or maybe look a bit different. There's no intro this week. As you can see, no music. You're straight with our wonderful faces. I am co-president and this week's host, Reece Field. I'm joined by all-round nice guy, Club Vice President, Mr. John McDonald, and it's our Super Charity League content specialist. Jess, what title do you want us to give you this week?
Oh, I don't mind. Let's go Charity League. That's what's taking up the time at the moment.
Jess, our charity lead is here as well. Say hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, no Tom this week. He is probably still on a high from being a victorious quiz winner on the BBC last night. Well done, Tom, and the Showstoppers. And because Tom's a big deal now, Rich has requested a trade to the Bills. So that's why he is not here. It's been quite a week, hasn't it, really, since we last spoke? John, I guess. What is the biggest takeaway you have had from the past week of Vikings training camp and preseason?
The O-line seems to have really improved. They seem to be gelling quite well. That's a pretty, considering where we last saw them in that Rams game. Yeah, what they've done. It seems to have worked.
And Jess, because it's been a little while since the last Skol Sisters pod where people last heard your voice and first time they're seeing your face on video. What has been your takeaway of the off season so far?
Oh, well, seeing all of the content and obviously our game against the Texans at the weekend, it's we're back, baby. I have forgotten everything that happened, how our season ended. It's all in the past. Very, very excited seeing what's coming out of training camp. And then having Vikings football back was amazing, and obviously securing it with a win. So that's my biggest takeaway. What Rams game? I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly what happened in Arizona. It doesn't matter anymore.
Exactly.
That was just the worst week of probably everyone's Vikings life for quite a while. So thanks for reminding me about what happened there, Jess. Of course, there's been a bit of Vikings news. First of all, the elephant in the room is that the suspension we all knew was coming has happened. Jordan Addison is suspended for the first 3 games, so he makes his debut this season when it really matters over in the UK and Ireland, starting in Dublin and then London. Of course, they'll be his first 2 games. He can fly over, he can watch the games, with us and get himself acclimatized to the time zones. John, who do you think is going to be the one to step up into that wide receiver 2 and, of course, perfectly a wide receiver 3 spot? Now we know this suspension has happened.
Well, it's got to be Naylor, hasn't it? It's got to be Speedy who's stepping up into that 2 role. He done well last year stepping up into the 2 role. So yeah, it's the 3 role. I still see it a bit open, but I think that will become less open towards the end of the preseason.
And Jess, if you don't want to be as neutral as John, who is going to take that number 3 role?
Do you know what I'm the exact same as John. I can't call it yet on who will fill that spot. I was going to say Naylor as well for 2. I think it's the obvious choice, especially after that catch he made against the Texans at the weekend. So absolutely no doubt in my mind it'll be Naylor for 2. But, it's only 3 games. So I'm hoping we won't be too hard done by without Addison in the 2 spot for those 3 games. And hopefully, he'll make a big debut back over in London with us and out in Dublin, of course, too.
Yeah, well, I won't be neutral then. I'm going to say Lucky Jackson. Lucky Jackson has been filling in a lot for Justin Jefferson. He's effectively, as soon as JJ went out with a hamstring injury, he filled that spot. He played a fair bit in preseason, made some, I think took receptions from both Howell and JJ McCarthy. So I think that Lucky Jackson has put himself in the best position to succeed and make the most of the opportunities that have come his way with, of course, Jefferson being out and still not practicing, should be said. We're probably going to have this up quite quick this week, this show, before the joint practices. But at the moment, there is still no return to practice for Justin Jefferson. Jess, is there any reason to be concerned yet?
No, I don't think so. I remember last season we had that little scare when JJ had the little hammy tweak leading up to the London game then. So I don't think so. I think we're just being extra cautious with him. Obviously, he is our number one player, our big star. So I think it's just extra cautious. I don't think we need to be worried. He didn't look worried on the sidelines on Saturday either. So I would feel like if we should be, we'd probably see that from him. So no, I don't think so.
And John, the return of course, Justin Jefferson on commentary, it's probably the highlight of the preseason games. What was your takeaway from him as a commentator, and how again behind the team he was?
Yeah, he just fits the Minnesota spirit. He's always full of positivity, always so nice, and the fact that KOC wouldn't let him call a play, I think, is disgusting. But yeah, I do like the fact that KOC handed it over to Wes from the second quarter. But yeah, he had a special relationship with Paul Allen, and you can see that they really get on well. And he's just full of positivity and always behind the team, no matter who's on the field.
Yeah, and moving on from our own preseason game, of course, there was a scary couple of moments this offseason, of course. I can't remember the name of the Lions safety who went down, but also friend of the club, someone who spent a lot of time with the fans over in the UK, Alexander Mattison, suffering a season-ending neck injury. Expected apparently to make a full recovery, and I really hope he does, because he was looking like he was challenging for quite a serious roster spot in Miami this season. So I think we just all want to wish Alex the speediest of recoveries.
Nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He couldn't do enough for us when he was over here and met the fans. They were only meant to be with us for about half an hour, but him and Blackman just loved it so much they just wouldn't. By the end, the Vikings staff were trying to drag them out the pub whilst we were there. They were like, no, we've got stuff to do, guys. Come on, let's go.
It was like that on the Friday as well. Was it the Friday or the Saturday? We went to the Williams experience as well, John. And it was also things like, no, come on, you got to leave these three idiots behind and go on to our next event. And
they got us downstairs with the Williams event, didn't they? They were saying, oh, please guys, come with us. Yeah.
Just dragged us down like we were just entourage after spending like half an hour chatting to them around a model of an F1 car. It was quite a surreal experience, one I don't think John or I will ever forget. And so, we can't wait to see Alexander Mattison back on the field again. One Viking it looks like isn't going to be stepping onto the field this season, though, is Rondale Moore, who suffered what they're calling a serious knee injury, I think or serious lower leg injury. Poor guy can't catch a break, and it's gutting because he was definitely probably up there for being the spark when we knew this suspension was coming for Jordan Addison. He was probably the one we were looking to be that spark. We know how good he was when he got the ball in his hands at the Cardinals, and it's just he's just had some horrible luck of injuries. At least a punt returner position open. Are there any names on the current roster we feel are going to fill that out, or do we see someone being brought in as a late free agent? Don't know. John first on this one, I guess.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when you hear about Moore, especially when you hear his teammates talk about him. He's so popular in that dressing room, and they're all absolutely devastated for him. But we wish him a speedy recovery. But as for punt returns and kick returns, I don't know if they'll trust Ty Felton out there on that. I don't know if they'll want him out there on that. But we might need to bring someone in for that type of role. But yeah, everything else, looked pretty solid.
It's interesting you mentioned Ty Felton there, because of course he looks like he's the number one kick return guy. Chandler didn't take many kick returns, and it's a different skill almost, tracking punts. People like Naylor. I think Naylor actually whiffed on a punt in Green Bay, I think it was a couple of years ago. Jess is nodding at me like, yeah, don't remind me. But yeah, it's definitely a skill. I think we're going to see a lot of Ty Felton as a kickoff returner, but not as a punt returner, I hope. I think you've got to protect him. That punt return position is dangerous. Jess, is there anyone that you think on the current roster can fill the void of Rondale Moore?
That's what I was just trying to think of when John was talking then. I was like, who would we get in? And obviously sort of the first two people that came to my head was like, could we use either Naylor or Ty Chandler maybe? But then I remembered Naylor. I think that he's a couple of times missed the catch completely on those, and that's like, for that to come straight to my brain and be like, not Naylor, like, yeah, probably not him. But then I'm like, who else on the roster? So I don't really know. Maybe we give them a go again. Maybe we try it. But yeah, I'm not sure on the current roster. I think we might have to pull someone in, like John said.
And there's our first watch as I dropped the microphone unmute button as Jess finished talking, which made my life a little embarrassing there. I guess we'll move on to, diving a bit more into the preseason game. Jess, who was your winner from the game? Who had something to walk away with their head held high and make a case for themselves?
Do you know, there was a couple of people that I made some notes on. So obviously watched the whole game, rewatched the highlights just to really analyze it a little bit more, because you get swept up when you're watching the full game in the whole, like, oh my God, we're back. The few for me, obviously seeing McCarthy out for the first time, like since his injury last preseason, I think he came out so strong. So obviously we were all super excited for him to be back anyway and see what he can do. And after seeing the darts he's been throwing in training camp, it was just incredible to see that out on the field. Him and Addison obviously had a bit of chemistry together there. It was great to see him. But Gabriel Murphy as well, I think it was like 1.5 sacks in the end. Like, so exciting. And you can see how like pumped these guys are to make such huge plays like that during the preseason game to really like prove themselves. So that was a big one for me. But then also going back to the quarterbacks, like seeing Sam Howell, I think he did incredibly well, especially as, training camp was a little bit iffy for him. But I think he really, really proved himself, really showed worth as a QB2 spot, potentially. I think he'll definitely get that slot. And then even when we brought out Brosma, I was so impressed. Like, I was actually so impressed. I thought they were both really quick to move out the pocket, get the ball out, get it to where it needs to be, made some great plays. Obviously, we had a touchdown at the end. I think, was it Howell that got the 94-yard, or was it Brosma, the one with Naylor? It was like just incredible. So to see that in our backups, going from obviously having like scary Nick Mullins to having someone that looks like they're actually able to move out the pocket, get the ball out, and not absolutely rocket it and get it to where it needs to be. I think they're the standouts for me from the game.
And John, who was your particular standout? Because I know you've got a different one to Jess that you've been itching to talk about. I know because we have some form of pre-production before we go onto these chats and these podcasts that we do here. And John made a lot of notes. I know he was, as soon as I sent the message, winners and losers, John was like, there's a reason I made notes.
Yeah, well, I think the standout, real surprise to a lot of fans will be how well Scott played in that game. He absolutely solidly took on that, has got that RB3 role up for competition now. Before the season, it was maybe Scott can edge that RB3 role. It is an open competition now between if anything, I would say Scott's in pole position over Chandler for that role now, because he was absolutely getting like 5-6 yards every run. He's a big guy. Reminds me a lot of CJ Ham, just big guy, just knocking people out the way. It's brilliant to see. That's exactly what we were missing last year. I mean, you look at that Rams game. If we'd had someone like Scott in that Rams game, where we're on the 5-yard line, just about to score, we kept on throwing it because KOC wasn't confident enough in the run. You put Scott in that, he'll plough through that line. So that's definitely someone who impressed me and come not out of nowhere, but definitely raised a few eyebrows.
Yeah, I think Xavier Scott was he's becoming a bit of a training camp lord, shall we say, in the sense of we've been talking about him for a couple of off seasons now, and there he is, and he is looking like he's putting some actual pressure on Ty Chandler for a roster spot. And I mean, for me, my winner though, there's another one who we spoke about for a couple of seasons. I know I mentioned him already, but it was Lucky Jackson, because he showed connections with both, JJ McCarthy, Sam Howell. He's continued to show he's a safe pair of hands. And when there was the scary incompletion from JJ McCarthy afterwards said straight away that I released that a tick early, and had I held on just a little bit longer, it was an easy completion. So it's showing that Lucky Jackson is out there. He's running the right routes. He's doing everything that needs to be done. And I think he's really making a claim for a roster spot, considering this is a guy who couldn't make it in the Canadian Football League, and then had a chance in the XFL, practice squad for a couple of seasons. But now it could be the Lucky Jackson era. Going on to the losers, though, I mean, for me, I'll go first this time. I've got the power as the host, I guess. John sort of alluded to it, though, in his points. Ty Chandler, for me, it looked like it was a tricky game for Ty Chandler. Every time he took a handoff, it looked like there was someone in the backfield ready to tackle him. And people were saying, well, is that because of the offensive line, the defensive line? People say, oh, yeah, Scott was running against the worst defensive line from the Texans. But it really, they narrowed it down to it's almost how you take that first step behind the line of scrimmage. Are you giving much away? Are you opening up your line by stepping the wrong way? And it goes back to last season. There were times where Ty Chandler would be lining up on the wrong side for a handoff. Now, I've heard enough QB speak. I watched Peyton's places. I know that it's confusing, and I probably would get my left and right mixed up and not know what side I've got to go on a run a lot of the time. But as a professional, you expect better from him, especially going into that fourth year, which is a big year. And Xavier Scott, his performance only going to make Ty Chandler a little bit more nervous. Jess, who was your loser from the game? And don't just say every Texans backup quarterback. they had a horrible time.
Yeah. I was going to say, between two. One was Ty Chandler. I just don't think the explosiveness was there anymore. And especially now, like you said, with Scott and also Mason in at running back, I think Ty Chandler is going to be really, really fighting for that RB position. But I think the other one may be a little bit controversial. Maybe I'm being a little bit tough. I don't know. I think Dallas Turner, I wanted to see a bit more from him. Obviously, we really put a lot of sort of hope on him as the rookie last year, and I just wanted to see a little bit more. There was a couple of missed tackles. There was one where he was really, really wrestling with the offensive lineman, and it was just, for me, the few snaps he played, like the first quarter, or however long he was in for, I would have liked to just seen a little bit more, but maybe I'm being tough. I don't know.
The 9 snaps. I mean, I'll come back to that one, I guess. But for me, I guess I'll pass it over to John first before I retort, because I'm worried he's going to say Donovan Jackson, another one who played 9 snaps. Because I'm curious, and I'm hoping he's not now scrambling. Oh, you're on mute, John.
I was going to say Jackson, but I think maybe you look at Brett Rippon, because he was expected to pretty much ease that third QB role, and he didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have as good a game as Brosner. So yeah,
Didn't
that's
he only
definitely
take 2 snaps in the end or something? Like 2. He wasn't on for long, was he, Rippon?
I think he had about a quarter. I think there was like a lull between Sam Howell and Max Brosmer, but I think because Howell and Brosmer were exciting to watch, we almost forget the Brett Rippon era existed.
Yeah,
it's definitely something to keep an eye on over the next couple of preseason games, because I think that's what will be the big thing in these upcoming games. It will be Brosner versus Rippon for that QB3 role.
And I mean, now I'm going to arc back to, of course, I mentioned Donovan Jackson. I mentioned, or Jess mentioned, goodness, what a time to forget the name. First one, Dallas Turner. There we go. No editing this week, so sorry, Dallas Turner. But I'm going to come to your defense now, and also going to come to the defense of Mekhi Blackmon, which is there were concerns over did we see something from Dallas Turner? They're playing a very vanilla defense. Brian Flores is not going to be calling the NASCAR pack in a preseason game and trotting out all his stars, and the missed tackle was a bit concerning, but at the same time, people are calling Travis Hunter a bust now because he missed one tackle in a preseason game. It's ridiculous. It's preseason. That's vanilla defense for the starters. They're going to be safe. Donovan Jackson, poor PFF grade because he fell over once or got bowled over once on 9 plays. Now, granted, if that happened every 9 plays, we'd be concerned. But I think he got 7 pass blocking snaps, fell over once, but other than that was pretty solid. I mean, he got pushed back a bit, but there's a difference between college and the NFL, and I think he's waking up to that now. Very few players come in and are NFL ready. You don't get Christian Darrisaw with every offensive line draft pick. Look at Brian O'Neill. He needed half a season to be big enough to start. And then Mekhi Blackmon, I know we didn't mention him, but there's been a lot of talk of he played a lot. Yeah, he did play a lot. But you've got to remember, this is a guy coming back from a serious knee injury. He's going to play a lot. They're going to want to get reps into him. As he's not a starter, you can be a bit more gung-ho with how much you want to play him. Now, granted, he didn't look too sharp, too smart, but it's a lot easier to cover someone when the quarterback only got 3 seconds to throw as opposed to when he's got 6 seconds to throw. So calm down if you're panicking is what I guess I'm trying to say.
And another thing to take away from this is everyone's looking at training camp being like, oh, what's the difference between why are these people looking different to training camp than they are to the game? You've got to remember, with our offense, they're facing Brian Flores' defense every snap in that training camp. You're not going to face many defenses worse than a Brian Flores defense in a game. So
I was going to say worse is a harsh word. I'd say it's more terrifying.
More terrifying. Well, that's it. It's absolutely terrifying. So if JJ McCarthy's doing well in that system, you've got to remember he's not going to be having a more terrifying defense stare him down for many games this season.
And I guess we now look ahead to the joint practices with the Vikings and the 2019 Minnesota Vikings, who have all ended up on the Patriots roster. There's quite a lot of former Vikings who are coming back to town this week with Stephon Diggs, Vitrian Lowe, Garrett Bradbury, Kyrus Tonga, Kalen Roy, Marcus Epps, all currently on the Patriots roster, which is a lot when you think about it. Hopefully no fights this week, because I don't think Mike Vrabel's face has recovered from his skirmish, shall we say, with offensive and defensive lines in the joint practice for the Patriots last week. It's our only joint practice, though. So what are we looking out for this week, Jess?
Oh, what are we looking out for? I would say, obviously, I want to see some more from McCarthy. Now you've brought Lucky Jackson back to my attention, I think more from him. I was really actually, when we signed him from the XFL, I was super excited that we picked him up. So then not getting to see him play too much for the last season or two that we've had him on the practice squad. Yeah, definitely more from him. I want to see the guys fighting it out for those spots that are open for that wide receiver 3, that RB3 slots. Just more from the O-line, I think.
And John, the same question to you. What are you looking for in this joint practice?
Yeah, I'm just looking for that competitive edge. I mean, let's face it. This is what these practices are for, isn't it? These joint practices are for, to get that competitive edge back, to get that fighting spirit back. You get yourself sorted. If you're going against the same defense all the time, it can get a bit vanilla, and going against the same offense all the time, when you're training, it gets a bit vanilla. So yeah, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how players react. And one person we didn't bring up, I don't think we did bring up, it was Mason. Have we talked about him yet? And what a good game he had. He had a really good. I think he was only in the first drive, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in the first drive, but it looked solid. Looked
Pretty-
like the running game was better, shall we say? It's almost like not having 3 turnstiles in the middle made a difference. Yeah, but John, you say there's a lot. There's a lot, and it's a big opportunity for people. This joint practice to and especially the coaches, because it is so repetitive training camp. Like it is. I'm trying to think how many training camp practices. I think they have like 18 days of actual training camp practice. I think they count it as, with the off days and the preseason friendlies also thrown in there. So to have 2 days of joint practice against another team, against another scheme, is going to be really interesting. I pray for Drake May, because I feel like he's going to have a pretty torrid time this week. The Forest defense is probably going to be a bit more unleashed than we've seen it. And we know it's been tough on Sam Howell, so we know it's going to be tricky. But the Patriots O-line, there's nothing really to write home about. I mean, I've mentioned Darren Lowe didn't make the Vikings roster, really. I mean, he was going to be cut, got traded. I still don't know how we managed to pick up a 6th-round pick for him. That was interesting. But thank you, New England, for that one. And I mean, for me, I guess it is about the coaching. What can you do against a different scheme? How good are you actually going to look against another team? And also, I really do hope that Justin Jefferson is back, because this is the chance to build up chemistry with JJ McCarthy. You're throwing against another team's defense, whereas it's all good having routes versus air in a high school field in Minnesota, and it's all good having these training camp reps when you had them, but the joint practice and that chance to be throwing against something you don't see every week is going to be invaluable. And I just want to see that chemistry there, especially knowing that as good as Addison and McCarthy look together, we're not going to have that weeks 1 through 3. But now I guess we look ahead to one more big thing that's happening this week, which is the actual preseason game. Of course, the joint practices mean we're probably not going to see JJ McCarthy or any of the starters play, because it's going to be a very physical 2 games. So, Jess, who is your player to watch in the preseason game with that in mind?
Woof. Player to watch. I think it's going to be in those running back positions. I think it's going to be probably Scott. I think we've got to keep an eye on him now. He's come out and he's clearly come out hungry, fighting for that spot. I think he's going to be the one to watch. I want to see what he's going to do up against a different defense, whether he's still got that same energy to prove that he's got it. Now we've seen that Chandler isn't really probably the one to have there. So, yeah, I think for me it'll be Scott.
And John, I know Jess has sort of robbed you, the one you've been longing for all week. Who are you going to say? Please don't take mine.
No, I'm not going to, but yeah, I know you say starters, but I'd like to see Jackson get a bit more practice on that line. Not Lucky Jackson, but I want to see Jackson get a bit more game ready, because you can see he's got the attributes, but as you said, Reece, he just needs to get up to NFL speed, because it's a big difference, especially on the O line, going from college to the NFL is a big jump. So
Well,
I just want to see. I just want to see him get a bit more up to NFL speed.
Yeah, those trenches. I mean, the difference is, and I think JJ McCarthy figured it out in that first preseason game with the first play and the first interception was, oh, even if I was playing against just anyone in college, the odds are when you're facing any team in college that one of the three cornerbacks on the field isn't going to the NFL. All the guys you're facing, they have gone to the NFL, they have made it, or they are fighting for a roster spot in the NFL. So yeah, for Donovan Jackson, he has to show some fight. If he does play, I'd be maybe a little bit concerned. I feel like it's the Ed Ingram treatment, but I mean, the Ed Ingram treatment was very different, where they were like, well, you've got to show us something. This is more of a case of, well, we're going to see if you can, how far off are you? What are the next, 2 weeks going to be like for you after we're done in New England, or New England are done here? But for me, I mentioned his name, Max Brosma. It's the one to watch, because I think this is the game for Max Brosma. You're going to see more of him. You're going to see more of Brett Rippon. In this game, this is the one that's going to determine whether you can be snuck through onto the practice squad or not. Because there's already people going, he's better than what we put out there, i.e. the Houston Texans. But this is it. If he plays the way he did, I mean, the touchdown pass where he went through 3-4 reads before even making the touchdown pass, basically through 2 touchdowns in that game, had one ripped away and then immediately came back and was successful. I mean, he is the one you've got to watch, because if he plays like he did last week, then it's a roster spot, and it's a case of, well, Brett Rippon, I guess you'll come back on the practice squad yourself. I think this is the big one, and I really hope it doesn't go full Kellen Mond, where we go, oh, he was really good, and then one preseason week later we're like, oh no, that's why he's never gonna make it to play in the NFL. But yeah, so Max Brosma for me. So we got a little bit of time left. We're flying through, so I guess with charity lead here, and the man who is donating his legs to mine this year, I guess it's only right that we talk a little bit more about the purple pedal. John, how is the training going?
It's going reasonably well, mate. Yeah, I took I think a 45-mile cycle this weekend around the Kentish countryside. It was lovely. Saw a couple of really good sights. I came across a really nice Viking longboat just outside of Ramsgate. It's brilliant. So I got a few steps of that. But it's all coming together really nicely. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great cycle, and we're getting up towards our target soon.
We're nearly at target 1, which is exciting. And Jess is probably looking up now how to increase the target on the Just Giving page.
Yes. We're at 87% of target 1 so far. So £880 out of 1,000 that we're aiming for. But every time, obviously, we get closer, we will up that target. I think we can even beat last year's. I think we can beat Rob's walk. I reckon we can smash through that. What did we get for Rob in the end? It was over 2,000, wasn't it?
It was actually over 5,000 in the end.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, of course. I reckon we can still do it. Still do it.
I mean, we could ask people to dip into their pockets. It's a huge journey. I guess one thing we haven't really ever had the chance to do on the podcast is really ask John why mind. I mean, of course, there's a backstory on the Just Giving page, but I mean, it's always better to hear it from the voice of the man who's taking on this massive ordeal for charity. John, why mind?
I lost a friend last year, and she had been really struggling with her mental health and everything like that. And so I'm doing this for her and her family. And it was, to me, it was always going to be mine. I done this for. I know I had it in the back of my mind that I was always going to do this, but yeah. And as you see on the Just Giving page, there's a little story about a time when I was coming home from. Sorry, bear with me a moment here.
That's all right. I mean, it's tough, and
this is hard to talk about. Yeah,
it's important people to listen, because this is the reason behind why John is doing such an incredible thing for Mind.
Yeah. As a lot of people know, I work nights, and so I was cycling home from work one morning at 6 a.m. Came across cycling across the motorway, across the bridge, across the motorway, and came across this girl who was standing on the edge of the bridge, about to throw herself over. At about 6 a.m. I was just like, so I stopped. I stopped, grabbed her, and I tell you what, I was trying to ring the police, get the motorway shut down, trying to hold her with one hand, and it was definitely a life-changing experience, and probably the longest 15 minutes on the phone whilst trying to hold this girl from throwing herself over a bridge in my life. It was, yeah, really something that changed my outlook on life, and it just shows you how quickly mental health can take over, and everyone out there needs help. So, yeah, that's the reason I've chosen Mind.
And so it's tough to talk about, and it's hard to listen to sometimes. You know, a lot of people have been touched by, losing friends to suicide, or have had people go through, many mental health traumas. I mean, it's a shocking statistic how many people battle a mental health issue during their lifetime, and Mind just do so much to support people. They give a level of support that's, it's incredible just what they do. You never know when you're going to need that help, and charities like Mind are there for people at their moment of need. I mean, I remember losing a friend to suicide nearly 10 years ago, and I remember I took a phone call from them shortly after, just when they were just calling out of, you've donated recently, how are you, is everything okay, and it gave me someone to open up to. And I've donated to Mind every few months ever since, because it's a fantastic charity, and they go above and beyond to support people who are in need. And it's almost symbolic what John is doing in terms of how far he's going and cycling at the moment alone. And we encourage people, if they have a bike and are on John's route, to join him for a leg of the journey. But it just shows the struggle. I mean, and Rob talked about it last year as well, with how far it is going, and the time alone, the time traveling, and the time it gives you to think. And it's tough, and it's mentally tough, and it's just another reason to donate to what John is doing here.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. The physical aspect of it is one huge thing that John's putting his body through, but what that's going to do mentally as well, like, that takes some strength. And I think we can all say that we're super, super proud. Even though you haven't done it yet, John, we're so, so proud of you for doing it. But this is why, if you haven't already, give what you can, put your hands in your pockets, even if it's £1, like, whatever you can donate. It means a lot to John, but also to us as the fan club, and to the charity that are receiving it as well. So any little bit of support. We're going to be looking at other ways to raise some extra funds as well, and smash through Rob's target last year. So keep your eyes out for that on our socials. There'll be some things coming soon to get a little bit of extra engagement and a bit of extra funds raised for this incredible journey that John's going on.
And as I say, I'm not doing this alone. I'm physically doing it alone at the moment, but I've got a great team behind me who are really supportive, and we are all here for everyone, all the fans out there, no matter what. Whenever you're feeling low or anything like that, just reach out, because I know I've got a great team supporting me here, and I know on that cycle ride, I'm gonna need people to talk to or chat to, and I know I've got a great team supporting me. So I know it's going to be a mental issue that getting through a lot of that. But yes, I've got a great team supporting me here, and there is a support out there, especially with charities like mine.
And I mean, if we just do some of the logistics stuff, John, I believe your first stop in Rhyl, you've got an overnight stay sorted there, but we're still working on accommodation and things for John. So if anyone owns, a cafe or has a B&B, or a friend who has a B&B or works in a hotel that wants to give John a safe place to put his bike at night and a place to rest his head, John, remind people what stops you're making on the way down from Dublin.
Oh, bear with me. That's that's throwing me off my man. I've got it all written out somewhere, but yeah.
I know it's a long way, and we thought Rob was walking a long way, and then you got a man who's trekking across 3 nations in the United Kingdom, or cycling across 3 nations in the United Kingdom here, who's now desperately trying to remember his. No, you go through Wales.
Yeah, I go through Wales
and a bit of Ireland.
England. Well, Ireland's not part of the United Kingdom, mate.
Is it? Oh, yeah, it's Dublin. I keep forgetting.
Dublin,
I've done a Rich. I've done a Rich, and I'm thinking he's in Belfast. He's not. He's in Dublin. So yeah, geography. There we go. Can't edit that one out. Balls. I blame John for not having his stops ready. I've made a fool of myself. We've got technical difficulties. It's all going wrong. We were doing so well. We were doing so
authentic. Well. I love
it. Yeah, people were seeing behind the curtain this time as John he's laughed so hard he's pulled his microphone out of his tablet. I hope he's going to get sorted. We can see John is plugging in. Jess, while we're waiting for John to sort out his microphone, where can people donate?
So people can donate over at Just Giving. So the link is justgiving.com/the purple pedal, I believe. And we will put the link in the show notes. I'm taking your line there, Reece. But we will put the link there, and the link is all on our socials as well. So Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can follow us. We'll share the links. But yeah, head over to Just Giving to make any donation you can to John's super duper 600-kilometer cycle ride.
Cycle ride. It's so demeaning when we say cycle ride. In fact, we used to call Rob's Skol to the Stadium a walk. Just go for a walk. But no, John's back. He's got audio.
John's back. He's got audio. Yeah. These are rough plans, but the second stop I will be taking after Rhyl will be Market Drayton. Third stop will be Warwick, that's just outside Birmingham. Then Tring, just outside London, and then it's the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as my final stop. So yeah, I'm averaging about 60 to 70 miles per day. Thankfully, the last day will only be 35 miles, so it'll be a nice trip. Only 35 miles. I say that it's like it's nothing, but yeah.
You put it in. You say, it's just about 65 miles or whatever per day. It's still over 100 kilometers, John. And we could accuse you of taking the scenic route in the sense of you are going through a lovely couple of parts of the country, the North Wales coastline and Tring. I have to end up around there quite a bit for work recently. And I have to say, it's quite a nice place. It's not too far away from Aylesbury and all that sort of. I think is it Buckinghamshire? I don't even know.
You get up to my ends then.
Yeah, up towards Jess's neck of the woods. But yeah, I think we've covered everything. So now I have to remember the mumbo jumbo and do it in one take. So if you've liked what you heard, you can get in touch with the podcast by email, which is ukvikespod@gmail.com. That's ukvikespod@gmail.com. Instagram, or message us on X at UK Vikings Fans, Blue Sky UK and ANDIRE Vikes Fans, Discord, there's always a link, Facebook UK and Ireland Minnesota Vikings Fan Club. Of course, if you're listening to this or watching this, then you found us. So if you're on YouTube, ring the bell. Apparently, that's what they say. So yeah, subscribe, like, comment. Darren loves commenting. It helps the algorithm, and I'd love it if we got loads of comments this week. The 1 week where he's not editing, just to wind him up a little bit. But again, if you're listening to us, Spotify, you scroll down, or go onto the podcast page, tap at the top rather, and you can leave a review there, star rating, and Apple Podcasts. Scroll all the way down to the bottom on the podcast page, and you can leave us a review rating there. I think we've covered everything. So, well, with that, I guess it's time to say goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Skol, cheers, and ta-ra, I guess, as I now have to scramble.
Ta-ra.
As I now have to scramble and figure out how to turn off the recording. You get every bit of us this week, and I hope you've enjoyed it.